Welcome to MDO Crochet for this tutorial on the saddleback blanket. This blanket is a very thick blanket. It does have a lot of curl. It is done in a stitch combination of 6 plus 7. It is a 2-row repeat. This blanket I did make in a chain of 199 and 200 rows, which equaled out to be 40 inches high or 102 centimeters, or 55 inches wide or 140 centimeters. This blanket is a yarn eater. As you can see the back, and that is the front. It used 3,228 yards, 2,952 meters of yarn for weight with a 6.5 millimeter cabled Tunisian crochet hook. This blanket is meant to be used vertically and not horizontally. So this would be your top. The normal bottom and top will be your sides. So let's go ahead and get into making the saddleback blanket. So I went ahead and I pulled up my chain. My chain is 25, which is the 6 plus 7. It's 3 6s, which is 18 plus 7, which equals 25. Now you're going to go ahead and in the back, you have your back bumps. That's where you're going to pull up your loops for your foundation row. And that is the second one from the one that's coming out of your hook. So there's chain 1 and there's chain 2. Just flip it over and put your needle into the back bump and pull up your loops. You're going to do that all the way down and count to make sure you are correct. So I went ahead and I already counted. I've got the correct number of loops on my hook. Now we'll be doing a standard return pass. So you'll just take your yarn, you're going to yarn over and chain 1. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2. You're going to yarn over and pull through 2 all the way down to the end. Now we're pulling through our last loop. Now we have that one loop left on our hook, and we have our foundation row, or our row 1, complete. So now we're going to do 2 rows of simple stitch. However, it's going to change a little bit because every 6th stitch, because we're not counting the first or the last, so that's every 6th stitch is going to be a double full stitch. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5. And to do a double full, you just go into the gap that is on each side of this vertical bar. You just go into the gap, yarn over and pull up a loop, go into the next, yarn over and pull up a loop. And that is a double full. And then we're going to do 5 more simple stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we do a double full into the gap of this vertical bar. 1, 2, and that's our double full, and then we do 5 more simple stitches right afterwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we do another double full. 1 and 2, there's our double full done, and then the rest and the rest of these vertical bars will be done in simple stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we'll just do our normal end stitch. And if you don't know how to do an end stitch, an easy way to get to your end stitch is just back your needle back just a little bit. Keep it in the loop though, but back it just a little bit. Bring it down to the row we just closed off and fold over. And then once you're in your end stitch, just pull it up and you have your end stitch done. And you're going to yarn over, chain 1. And you're going to yarn over, pull through 2 until you get to your double fulls. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And you'll see when you get into your double fulls, because they're going to be a little bit lower than the simple stitches we were doing, and that's where we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go through both of those double fulls just like that. And if you need a refresher how to do the double full stitch, I'll be putting a link to it right here. And then it's back to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 until you get to your double full. And then once you get to the double full, you'll yarn over and go through 3. And then, because this double full, one is a stitch, one is an extra stitch, so now we need to close that back to 1 stitch. So we have the same amount a count, and it doesn't increase our rows. Once you're done with that again, just do a standard return pass on your simple stitches. And then you get to the double full. You're going to go through both, just like we just did there. And then yarn over, pull through 2, continuing all the way down till you only have that 1 loop left on your hook. And now this is where, so now we have our last loop on. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be going and pulling up the back post and the front post together. And we're going to do that by yarning over and then following that down to the very first row, which is our foundation row, and going through and pulling up that front post and that back post, yarn over, pull up your loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And then we're going to go into the next simple stitch, just pull up a simple stitch. Then we're going to yarn over, and for the very next stitch, we're going to do the exact same thing. You can go above the chain and below the return pass, hugging the previous front bar, and you'll be able to get your needle in there, and then you'll just work it to where you're pulling up just those 2 bars. You'll yarn over and pull up your loop. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2. And then we're going to do a simple stitch in the next stitch. And then you're going to yarn over and do the exact thing for that last simple stitch. You're going to go drop down, pull up those front and back posts, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. Now we're at our double fulls, and you're going to go on each side and still pull up a full stitch on both sides. And then as soon as you're directly done with that, you're going to yarn over and continue every other stitch as a drop down or front post, a simple stitch, front post. So yarn over, drop down to that very first row, or a foundation row, poke through, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over and pull through 2, go to the next stitch, which is a simple stitch, and then a yarn over, drop down, do a front post, yarn over, pull up that stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we're at our double full, so you'll do a double full stitch again, because we're going to keep that double full stitch going throughout the entire pattern. And then as soon as you're done with the double full stitch, you'll yarn over and do another front post in that very first simple stitch. So you'll put your needle through, pull up both of the front and back bar, yarn over and pull the yarn through, yarn over and pull through 2, simple stitch, and then it's a yarn over, do your front post, the front and back post, and you'll yarn over and pull through, pull that loop up, and then once you're through, you'll yarn over and pull through 2. Now, doing it on the foundation row is the harder aspect right now. The following rows will be easier. After you've done your front post, you yarn over and go to the next one, pull up a simple stitch, and then the very next one, you'll yarn over, go down to your foundation row, pull up your front post, and then you'll yarn over and pull through 2, and then you're at your double full stitches, so a full stitch on each side of this, and that's what it should look like. And then we'll yarn over and do a front post in the row below, and then the very next stitch is a simple stitch, then another front post in the next stitch. So just yarn over, go down to the bottom, go down 1 row, then yarn over and pull through 2, simple stitch, and your last stitch will be a front post for this row. It is a 2-row repeat. And then you'll just do your standard end stitch. Pull up the loop, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2 until you get to your double full stitches. And at your double full stitches, that's where we'll yarn over and pull through 3. And you'll be able to know when you're at your double full stitches, like we are right now. You'll yarn over and pull through 3. And you can see the pattern the double fulls are making. Yarn over, pull through 2 until you get to your next set of double full stitches. And we'll yarn over and pull through 3 through those double fulls, and then yarn over, pull through 2 through the remaining stitches, through the other stitches. And then we're at our double fulls, we'll yarn over and pull through 3. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. And then we'll yarn over and pull through 2 to finish off this row. Now for the next row, I'm going to switch colors so you can see what the actual pattern is. So I'm going to stop 1 return pass short, and I'm going to switch colors because I want you to see the actual pattern that this is making. And you could change colors if you want to, every row, every other row, or every 10th row. But I'm changing colors right now so you can see what I am doing for this pattern. Now the next row is an offset row, which means where you did a front post, you're just going to do a simple stitch. And where you did a simple stitch, well, now you're going to do a front post in that row right below it. Just go ahead, and you're not going into the foundation row, you're going right below it. So we'll yarn over and go right down below it to the previous row we just closed off and pull up our loop, and then you'll just do your front post, and then it's a simple stitch, and then a front post. And again, you're not going into the foundation row, you're going into the row right above the foundation row now, which is our row 1. And then a simple stitch. And then we're at the double full stitch. You'll just still continue doing a double full stitch. You're still going to do the double full stitch regardless. We're just alternating every row. This is a 2-row repeat. So we're, again, where you did a front post, you're going to do a simple stitch right above it. And where you did a simple stitch in the previous row is where you're going to do a front post. You're going to go right into that row and then yarn over and do a front post. And then a simple stitch, and then a front post. And then a simple stitch, and then our double full stitches. Simple stitch, front post, simple stitch, our front post, our simple stitch, our full double full stitch, a simple stitch, a front post, simple stitch, a front post, and a simple stitch, and then our end stitch. Now this is a tight blanket. It does curl. And then when you got your end stitch up, you just chain 1, yarn over it, and pull through 2. It's a standard return pass. So you'll do your standard return pass until you get to your double full stitches. And your double full stitches, we handle those exactly the same way we have been. So we'll yarn over it and go through 3. And then again, go back to a standard return pass until our next set of double full stitches. And once you're there, to yarn over and pull through 3. Again, we standard return pass until we get to our next set of double full stitches. And while we're at our next double full stitches, it's a yarn over, pull through 3, and then a yarn over and pull through 2 for our standard return pass. And that is all there is to this blanket pattern. It is a heavy blanket. From now on, you're going to be able to go under your front post. You'll be able to go under it instead of digging into a row. So now you just go under the front post, pull up your front post from there. And of course the pattern stays the same, though it's a 2-row repeat. So If the previous row you did a front post, well, this row, the next row you're doing a simple stitch. And since we did a simple stitch in this row previously, and we're doing a front post in this row, but now, like I said, you can go down and go into the previous front post, and you can just yarn over and pull up your loop that way, because you're not going to be able to find where you need to go. And then, of course, our double full stitches are done the same. And then we have our double full. And then we have our front post, which again, like I said, you can go down to that very previous front post that's down below 2 rows and just stick your needle through it right at where it connects. Yarn over, pull up your loop, and then yarn over, pull through 2. And then the very next stitch is your simple stitch, and then you're going to yarn over, go back through. And what I'm talking about where it connects, I'm not talking about where it connects down here at the bottom. I'm talking about where it connects from the return pass, which is so it's up here a little bit. And you can see it right there where my needle is at. So you'll be pulling it up there. And you'll just yarn over. It'll make it easier to find when you're doing it this way. And it creates a very, very thick fabric. And then a simple stitch, and then again we're going to drop down 2 rows worth of into that previous row's front post, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we have our double full stitches, so 1 on each side, and then again yarn over, go down to that very first front post we did, and then you'll just yarn over, pull your loop up, yarn over, pull through 2, and then a simple stitch in the next. And that is the pattern for this blanket. As you can see, it does make a very thick blanket pattern. But let's go ahead and finish this row up. So again, it's a simple stitch. It is a front post, so you'll yarn over and then go down to the very first front post we did. Yarn over, pull up your loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And then if there was a front post, you do a simple stitch. And if there was a simple stitch, you do a front post. And it's just so much easier once we already have our first row done to be able to do the front post, because you can use it to bring up your loops. And then we have our double full stitch, 1 and 2. And we have a simple stitch here, so that means we need to do a front post. So we yarn over and we go straight down into that previous front post that's in that line and pull up another front post, and then front post, so that's a simple stitch. That's a simple stitch, so we got to do a front post. And we're linking the front post together, and by doing it every other row, we're creating a solid piece of fabric, because the way that these front posts work, they don't connect to each other, they don't connect to the row previously, so it creates like a flap, and we don't want that flap. So doing it at every other one on alternating rows helps us create a solid piece of fabric. Simple stitch, and then this one was a simple stitch, so we need to go down and do the front post. So yarn over, go into that front post, yarn over, pull at that loop, yarn over, pull through the 2, and then we'll do our end stitch, a normal row closure stitch. It's going to be a little bit tighter with this pattern because this blanket pattern is a thick piece of fabric, and it's a standard return pass until you get to your double full stitches. Double full stitches, you pull 3. So yarn over, chain 1, then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 until we get to our double full stitch. And then we're at our double full stitch, so you'll yarn over and pull through the 3, and then back to our standard return pass, so which is yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, until you get to your next double full stitch. And if you need to put stitch markers, put stitch markers. That way you'll know, okay, that's my double full stitch, I need to pull through 3. And then it's a yarn over, pull through 3 at the double full, and then a yarn over, pull through 2 until your next double full stitch. And it's a yarn over, pull through 3, do a standard return pass until you only have that one loop left on your hook. And that is what our pattern looks like. You can see where our double fulls are, and then you can see where our front posts are. And our front posts do alternate rows. Now to close this project off, you could do it 2 ways. You can do, since this was a simple stitch, this would be a simple stitch close off here. So just take it and slip it off. This one would be a front post. So you could do a front post and then slip the front post off. And then a simple stitch close off. And then a front post close off. Just go through and do the front post. And instead of keeping it on your hook, just slip it off. Simple stitch close off. And here we have our double full. So what we'll do, we'll pull it off, pull both of them up, and then we're going to take both of them and just slip them off. That keeps our shape going. And slip both of them off, and that'll keep the shape going. And then you can just continue that way. So simple stitch, close off, front post close off, simple stitch close off, front post close off, and just continue that all the way down. And then you're done, and you can put, if you want a border on this blanket, you can put a border on it. That'll be great. It's your decision. It is, again, a very thick piece of fabric. And if you found this tutorial helpful, please consider giving me a like and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. And leave me a comment. I will chit chat with you. And as always, folks, keep stitching.